Welcome to the Above Average Driven Millennials podcast series, where entrepreneurs, celebrities, and athletes talk about their journey, from starting and all the shit they had to go through to get where they are today. Please spread the love. Write us a review. We want to help as many entrepreneurs and people as we can with advice from industry experts. Now, here's your host, President and founder of Adapting Social, John A. Vaguero.
Hey guys, what's up? Thank you for listening to the Above Average Driven Millennials podcast. I'm here with Callie Grace Turner. Callie, how you doing today?
Hey, good. How you doing?
So good. So my co-host John is out of the office today, but I have the complete honor of hopping on the podcast with you today. And Callie, before we dive in too deep, do you want to tell all the listeners a little bit something about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a millennial like you guys. I am 21 years old. I'm from a very small town in South Carolina, and I just moved to Los Angeles to pursue a full-time documentary filmmaking career. Wow,
that is amazing. That's so cool. So what kind of things do you like to film?
And I mean, I have a passion for storytelling in general, so if that's people, things, causes, the world in general, I like to film it all.
Wow, that's amazing. That's so cool. I have a deep appreciation for videography because it's so many components go into it. Storytelling, you have like making sure you get the nice shots like you would if you were like a photographer. You have to make sure that all of the scripts and everything is in place if you're having to lay out kind of like a show, and I just got to commend you for that. It's a lot of orchestration into one moment.
It is kind of a concoction of like all the arts and all artistic stimulation.
Yeah.
Audio, visual, the script, like you said. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Are you a videographer?
No, I'm not. I do some social media marketing stuff. I do copywriting. I do the podcast, which is why I have the honor of being on with you today. And I work closely with our video department too, and they are super, super talented, and I have like a deep appreciation for everything that a videographer does.
I bet you could do it. You're already halfway there.
I mean, I'm sure it takes a lot of hard work, and I commend you for that.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So how did you get into videography?
Man, I got into videography kind of by accident because, so I went to South Carolina, the University of South Carolina for 1 year to study business, and I thought that I wanted to be some real estate guru and just learn business so that I could figure out what I really wanted to do mission-wise. And after 1 year, I was interning at my sister's real estate development company in Nashville, and she was like, hey, drop out of school, let's start this media production company, even though you've never made a video in your life. I was like, I don't know the first thing about media and production. And so she actually gave me this project. Like, she left the country for like 2 weeks and was like, figure it out, film, direct, and produce 2 commercials for these apartment complexes that I have. And I was like, okay, so we did it. It was so much fun. I spent a lot of time in like the acting and modeling industry, and so I kind of knew what I was doing. I knew what it was supposed to look like, but that's how it all started. We produced those 2 commercials. She was really happy with them, and we launched the production company, and after that it was just like, learning on YouTube and practicing every day.
Wow, that is so crazy. So you kind of got thrown into the fire rather than anything else.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Thrown into the fire. But I mean, the main goal was to be able to tell story and be able to tell stories that uplift the right people and promote the right causes and ideas to put them in a place of influence, because that's what we really wanted to do with the media company. And so anything that I needed to learn in order to make that happen was basically my job.
Wow, that is so wild. So how do you get your ideas when you're going to go out and film something? Because I know that there's so much effort and value in what you have to say that I know that our listeners would appreciate.
So So obviously you have to have a goal in mind. Like, what do I want to film this for? What story do I want to tell? What kind of idea do I want to get across to my audience? And so, for example, like our project BVI Stronger, which was the documentary series after the 2017 hurricane season in the Caribbean, our main goal was to tell the rest of the world that the BVI has not been devastated forever. Yeah, they lost 80% of their infrastructure, but if you don't go back down there and volunteer and help them, even a year later, they're never going to recover. If you don't go back down there and travel as a tourist and spend money in their islands and give people jobs, they will never recover. Because that's usually what happens after natural disaster. People stay away from those areas. They don't want to be in the way. But that's actually wrong. The best way for you to help is to continue to invest your money there. So
Wow.
that was like our main intention behind the series. That's something that I had in mind, was every interview I get, every shot I get has to be directed around that main point.
Wow, that's so powerful. That's amazing. You're literally changing lives with the work that you're doing.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sure you heard some like amazing stories where you were there too, right?
Oh my gosh. Like, out of this world stories. I don't know how those people survived. I really don't. It blows my
Wow.
mind.
What was like the most wild thing that you've heard while you were there?
This doesn't even sound real, but this guy told me he was sitting on his bed during the hurricane. His whole roof flew off above him, which was common. Like, that's not the unbelievable part. The unbelievable part is that this catamaran, do you know how big a catamaran
Yeah,
is?
for sure.
It's like tons.
Yeah.
And they're like 50 feet long. Literally, he's sitting in his room. The roof is gone. It's daylight. And then it's darkness. Because this catamaran flew over his house
Oh my God.
to the other side. I almost don't believe it, but I'm like, I heard so many stories about catamarans being on top of houses, going up the hill, and I'm like, whoa. So that was probably like one of the craziest stories. I mean, there's tons of stories of people like someone had a heart attack during the hurricane. They had to take care of them and like drag them out to like under a tree or like behind a car, and then like a tree fell on the car, and then they had to drag them to this other place. It's just wild.
That
I have
is
no idea how more people didn't
insane.
die.
Oh
I
my
know.
gosh. It's just at that point, it's people like just fighting for their lives like left and right with their neighbors. Like that's intense stuff.
Yeah. I mean, one quote that the governor said was, he said, if this storm had come in the night, it came during the day, if it had come in the night, there wouldn't be living to bury the dead. And I totally believe it.
Damn.
Because people were running from house to house, and like they weren't just hiding in a closet, they were moving throughout the storm. Then they had that 20-minute eye where they were able to like readjust themselves and like lock the doors again. If they didn't have that, they probably all would have died.
That is
It was
unbelievable.
incredibly catastrophic. Yeah.
Wow. So I know that hearing all of that must be incredibly eye-opening and just really giving you like a deeper appreciation for life because you met
Yeah.
so many people who could have lost it in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, for sure.
So
We
what
were down there. Go ahead.
what would you say is like the main thing that you've learned from that whole experience?
Well, we went down there 3 days after the hurricane, which is not allowed. You're not allowed to do that. We literally snuck in the country on a plane with CNN, like sitting on top of relief. Like there was no room for us, and we bribed the customs lady with bug spray to let us in because the bugs there were just so bad.
Oh my
And
gosh.
she took it, and I learned that, yeah, that seemed really stupid because it's so dangerous to do that. Like, you don't do that. But had we not gone down there and just left it to the professionals, so many things wouldn't have gotten done. And that's not like to toot our own horn, but it's just to have people that are able to be scrappy, to run, go do this, to coordinate with these people in the midst of all these people that are in shock and are just like living in absolute chaos. And the only other teams that are down there is the Army and the Red Cross, and they have their own like agenda. That was one of the biggest things I learned, was just that you can't always leave it to the professionals. They always need help. They need help 3 days after and 10 years later, because recovery is a really long process.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was here for Hurricane Sandy, and that was
really?
super intense in our area. Yeah, my family lives like 500 feet from the ocean, so we felt the full brunt of that whole storm. Like, luckily, I don't know how, but our house, like, we were able to fix. But there's still people, like, to this day that just don't have their homes at all in New Jersey, which not enough people talk about. It's crazy. I think everyone in our area is super, super touched by that storm. It was, like, insane. People still talk about it.
Yeah, well, those storms don't happen often.
No, they definitely don't.
On that part of the coast.
Yeah.
That's great.
It was genuinely crazy. But to go back to your traveling and your career, what advice would you have to those people in your position who feel like they should stay safe and like get a normal job and work in one area, considering that you're someone who's traveled all over?
Oh, man. Well, I didn't do the safe thing. I dropped out of college after my first year. And that's because I just don't believe that at 18 years old, you've got your life figured out, You know exactly what you want to do, who you want to become, and then you go somewhere to spend all this money and time and effort to execute that. I myself needed a little more exploration. I needed to travel. I needed to just expose myself to a plethora of things. And so that's what I did. And now I'm actually going back to film school at 21 for like a 1.5 year long program. But that's because I figured out what I really wanted to do. And so for people that think they need to just sit back, do the what's comfortable, safe option, if there's anything I've learned through all that, it's that challenge is what shapes you, and that being comfortable is the worst thing you can do for your human experience.
Wow, that is powerful. Don't mind me that that I looked away for a sec. I was just typing that in. I thought that was absolutely beautiful, and I would love that to be the name of the podcast. Typically, when John and I do the podcast, like, we pick out one specific quote that means the world to us, and that was like unbelievable. I love challenges are what shape you, because a lot of people will be challenged and will put their backs against the wall when there's always a way out. There's always an option to survive, and not enough people hear that.
I mean, wouldn't you agree that being comfortable is the worst experience you could have? Because you don't grow. People don't understand, like, that's the point of life, is to take on challenges. How do you handle those challenges? And then how do you grow from them? It doesn't mean you have to have a horrible, like, quality of life because you're always stressed and always challenged. If you challenge yourself every day, the big challenges won't seem that big. And so that's what I do, is I challenge myself every day to do at least one thing that puts me way out of my comfort zone. Something that's really uncomfortable, something that's scary, something that's challenging. And that way I'm more comfortable with challenge, and I'm more capable of doing bigger and harder things. Most people think if they choose to not expose themselves to things that are uncomfortable, then they're having a better, more relaxed, enjoyable life. But it's actually the total opposite.
Yeah.
Because they're mentally or physically capable of doing more things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that was legitimately incredible, and I love all those insights. And it's so true. Like, if you're not uncomfortable, then you'll never know how to be comfortable in the future. And that's just the way it is. Like I'm a marathon runner. Like I've mentioned the fact that I've run a lot of times on the podcast, but like you never get to where you want to be unless you push yourself when no one's watching. And that's something that I think really stands out to a lot of people. Like I know that you've definitely worked long hours, had to go through a bunch of shoots that didn't work out, had to experience so many things that didn't necessarily result in the best like outcome, but you needed to have those moments to make you successful now.
Yeah, and I think that most people, especially with social media, we see people as like these overnight successes, and we see people as someone with a consistently great life, which sounds cliche, everybody knows that, but really it's not even about the outcome. It's so not about the outcome and like what you accomplish. I honestly just choose to live my life believing that it's who you became along the journey, who the challenge shaped you to be, and then what was your attitude and how did your character grow when you were faced with things that were hard for you. You know, I'm very go ahead.
No, I love that. I want to hear more about what you have to say. I love it.
I was just gonna say that that's probably the number one thing I've learned on this journey is that like this life is not my own. These opportunities, I never deserved them. I never earned them. And so at the end of the day, if I'm not giving up my day to say, I don't care about the outcome, I don't care what I accomplished throughout this, I want to be shaped into a better person. I want to be shaped into someone that God will be pleased with. And if that's not my intention, then it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's all I was going to say.
I love that. So I hate to put you on the spot here, but one of the things that we always like to mention on the podcast is what is your why? Because your why is why you get out of bed in the morning, why you do what you do, why you are who you are. So what is your why?
My why is that I have been unbelievably blessed with the ability to wake up in the morning. I have good health. I have a healthy mind. I have a healthy body. I was born in America. I was born with a family that loves me. I have literally so much opportunity around me that if I just grasp an ounce of it, then I have the ability to make a difference that I can't even see or fathom. And so that's my why, is I could have been any of these kids being trafficked. I could have been any of these men or women who are slaves in other countries or slaves here. And that's something I'm really passionate about, is ending human slavery. And yeah, it's just like if we wake up and realize that like, we don't even deserve life, I'll be honest. We don't. We were given life. There's so much grace for the fact that we're alive, that it's like if you're not serving someone else or you're not doing something with that, then there's no point. So I make a real point to wake up with the intention of serving others and using my skills and my gifts and my energy to do something that matters.
That's unbelievable. I absolutely love that. I could feel your passion when you speak, and I definitely know that that's something that a lot of people will appreciate as well. And knowing that your purpose is to benefit others is such a deep realization that not a lot of people realize. Like a lot of people, when you ask them what their why is, will turn instantly to themselves. But you twisted that and turned everything to other people, and that's amazing, and I love that. And I think that I have the same kind of a mindset towards that as well, because I feel that the greatest gift in life is giving gifts to others, and that's something that means the world to me. Like I'm involved in a bunch of different like charities, and foundations to benefit other people, and I feel the same way. So I really resonate with that. And
Great.
I was also involved in a club in my high school called Breaking the Chain, where we worked with children in Ghana who were being trafficked, and we ended up, while I was there, saving 2 children, which may sound like
Whoa, no,
not
that's
a high
amazing.
number, but like every life matters, and it
That's
like
amazing.
meant the world to everyone that I went to school with, to my teacher whose name was Evan Robbins, who wanted to go and really make a difference. Like, such an incredible opportunity to be involved with it.
How did you do that? What was that like?
So I was always like at my high school, like, but we would have fundraisers and like a bunch of organizations where we would raise money for
Yeah.
my teacher Evan to go to Ghana, and then he would work with the owners, I would suppose, of the kids or whoever had possession of the children, and like try to work out a deal or negotiate with them so that we could end up
Wow.
setting these children free. And it was so powerful. Like he's one of the most inspirational people I'll ever meet.
Wow.
So that was just like an insane opportunity that I had to be involved with it.
What's
But
his name?
his name's Evan Robbins, and the name of the organization is Breaking the Chain. And he's truly doing some amazing stuff. So if you ever want to get involved with an incredible organization with ties to Ghana, it's like
No,
insane.
I love that. That's great. I can't believe that like we can even go over there and negotiate with these people to give up children.
Yeah,
It's sick, but whatever works.
yeah,
I've also been like working in the justice system works. I don't know if you're involved with IJM, International Justice Mission, but they do really great work, like working with the justice system in Ghana and all these other
wow,
countries to basically train them on like what to look for, how to handle these situations, and whatever. That's a conversation after this.
yeah. But seriously, amazing stuff, and I
Yeah,
firmly believe in. Yeah, everyone has a purpose to make the world a better place. So if you're meeting
yeah,
the right people, doing the right things, always willing to lend a helping hand, you will be nothing but successful. Because success follows those that want other people to be successful, and that's just how it
I
goes.
totally agree with that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. So I this is a little bit like of a lighter question. Since you've
yeah,
been traveling a lot, where would you say is like your favorite place that you've gone and why?
totally. Joost van Dyke in BVI. It's this tiny little island that only has like 250 people that live there. I'd say after the hurricane, only 150.
Oh my
So
god.
imagine living on an island with 150 people. And some of those people have never been off the island. It's just such an untouched piece of land and culture. And yeah, some tourists go there, but the people haven't changed. And it's unreal. I went there after the hurricane. I was able to go with like a search and rescue team to deliver some aid there because since they're an outer island and they're small, they weren't getting like aid from the military and the Red Cross, and so we brought it to them. And the dock was shredded. I mean, there was no like you couldn't walk on it, and we saw kids with rocks going out there with nails, hammering the boards down so that we could deliver aid to them. And I was like, so obviously I like fell in love with these people, and then since they've recovered more, we've gone back there and met like the owner Foxy and like just danced with him and had a great time. So I think that's my favorite place I've ever been.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
so specific and like amazing. I've been to Turks and Caicos. I'm sure that's one of the islands there that got
yeah,
a bunch of recognition since it's like pretty pretty big deal.
yeah. I don't think I've ever been
It's amazing. Highly recommend it.
there.
It's great.
Anywhere in the Caribbean is great.
Absolutely. So we're winding down this podcast, but I still have a few more interesting questions that I would love to
Go
share with
for it.
you. So you've accomplished so much in your career up to
Thank you.
this point. So where do you see yourself in 10 years from now?
10 years from now, I hope to be doing documentary filmmaking and hopefully some feature films. But I'm actually planning on launching a nonprofit by the end of this year. And the nonprofit will basically take media and marketing and service nonprofits that don't have great media and marketing and promote what's actually working in the system to help promote these nonprofits in the way they need promotion to gain more funds.
Wow.
So basically, yeah, I mean, that's basically like working with a nonprofit and having friends who worked in nonprofits. That's the biggest issue is not as much the internal structure, but just like not having enough funding for marketing, not having enough funding to have great media that makes them trustworthy and is appealing to people who don't know them. And that's why IJM does so well, is they have a great media marketing team. They're the largest international organization in the world, and they actually make things happen, and they're finding solutions to human trafficking. I think really because they have the funding for it. So that's my plan, is to launch that nonprofit, do some great work with these awesome organizations, learn from them, and then hopefully after I finish my schooling here, I'll be able to go really wherever I'm needed, like Eastern Europe, Middle East, Southeast Asia, wherever. I want to spend some time over there, like really understand the culture, and then hopefully like set up camps there and figure out how we can eliminate this horrible issue that we're both passionate about.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, since we are a media marketing company, we would love to learn more about this opportunity. So we should definitely stay in contact with each other to learn a little bit more about this moving forward.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Absolutely. So this question might be hard since you've said so many like amazing quotes throughout this podcast. But what is your favorite quote? Because quotes are super important to us. And I could share mine if you want, so that way you feel a little bit more comfortable about sharing yours.
It's hard to pick my favorite quote, but one that comes to mind is by Martin Luther King. It's, "If one is not free, then none are free." Or by Martin Luther King, "None are free until all are free." That's a better way to say it. I'll probably get that tattooed somewhere on my body, but I love it, and it's so true because I believe that God leaves the 99 to find the one, and I have so many stories in my life where that's true, and I want to live a life that focuses on the one that's lost or the one that's not free, and to keep that in my mind daily, that's important.
I love that. That's incredible.
What's your favorite quote?
My favorite quote is a little bit less deep. It's the only time you should ever look back is to see how far you've come. And I think that it's so important because people always get torn up on who they've been in the past and where they've been. However, you need to focus on where you are in the present and not let anything in the past change you, because all of your failures and the success led you to where you are now, and all of your victories led you to where you are now. And the only thing that matters are how you venture into the future, because you might have been an athlete and won a huge game, and that's great, but what's going to happen the next time you need to compete? You may be working in business and you struck a huge deal, but what are you going to do in the future if it doesn't work out? Like, there always needs to be future moves, and that's what's really important to me. I'm like living in the moment.
Really good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I'm sure that's helped you a lot in life.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I am a pretty like mental focused person, and I try to think about all the good things in my life rather than the bad. And I just think that appreciating the positives of my past that led me to where I am now is so important, just like as I am.
Do you listen to Tony Robbins?
I do listen to some Tony Robbins stuff, and he is incredible. John, who is usually on the podcast with me, the president founder of Adapting Social, he's a huge Tony Robbins guy. He just attended one of the Tony Robbins summits a couple months ago, and he was loving it.
Wait, did he? Is it a summit or a conference? It's called Date with Destiny.
I couldn't tell you exactly what it was, but it was in Newark, New Jersey, and like a bunch of like pretty well-known people were there with him, and he loved it.
Gotcha. I was at Date with Destiny in Palm Beach in December, and so I was like, maybe he was there. It's awesome. You got to go to a conference.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. He is like, I think John called him like the Gandhi of our generation. So he's.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go that far. Call anybody that, but no, he's definitely wise and he's got a lot to share with people.
Very cool. That's amazing. Yeah, I would love to attend one of his events because I always love hearing like incredible insights from people and just learning how I can just improve myself so I could make an impact on others.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that quote that you said before would be a really cool tattoo. I have a bunch of tattoos too.
I'm thinking about right here. We'll see. It's kind of a lot. Let me see yours.
Yeah, I have like my whole like arm tattoo.
My gosh, that's so cool.
Thanks. Yeah, the artist that tattooed me up is amazing. I actually have like a crazy story in this. Not to get too off topic, but my grandpa was an artist, so he painted a whole like scene that had always stood out to me. And when he passed away, I got that exact same scene tattooed on my arm. So it's kind of my whole thing. Family's super important to me. So
that's so much cooler than most people's tattoos and their meanings. They're like, oh, I just liked it.
Yeah, I mean,
my grandpa painted this.
Yeah, exactly. So it's pretty special to me. But everyone has an incredible tattoo. Even if you want to get one just for the heck of it, as long as it makes you happy, that's what really matters.
That's true. Everyone does have a meaning behind it, whether they think they do or not.
Exactly.
Which is funny.
It could be like a subconscious.
Keep asking about it. Wanna...
Absolutely. So, where would you say you really want to go this year? Like even short-term goals, because even just hearing where you are now will inspire people in their present time as well.
Thanks. Well, I just this last month left Ariel Produce, the production company that I started with my sister 3 years ago, and so I'm kind of starting over in the sense that, like, you know, starting over financially, starting over in a new city, starting over with a new direction. And so my goal is to meet incredible people that I can learn from. And I'm in a different position now. I'm not in like a leadership management position. I'm in student position. So be humble, serve people, give first, learn, and then hopefully launch something great by the end of this year and be really focused. That's really my goal.
That's amazing. And I definitely believe firmly that you're going to be able to accomplish everything that you're setting out for. And I appreciate your humbleness and openness to share who you are with me as well as our listeners. It's like amazing, seriously.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So Callie, thank you so much for being on the Above Average Driven Millennials podcast. Without question, you are an above average person. And it means the world to me and to our whole family at Adapting Social. So before we taper off, do you want to plug your social media, your website, so people could learn a little bit more about you?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. This was an incredible opportunity, and I'm honored to be on your podcast. And so you can follow me on Instagram or Facebook, Callie Grace Turner, Kali Grace Turner. And then my website is realwavemedia.com.
Awesome. Callie, all that sounds seriously perfect. Thank you so much for sharing with us, and I look forward to talking to you in the future.
Yeah, I'll hit you up.
Awesome, great stuff. Yeah, I definitely see a future with you and Adapting Social, because giving back is something that we are super passionate about. So we'd love to discuss that further with you.
Heck yeah, I've got some ideas, so let's talk.
Awesome. Definitely share. Definitely share. All right. Have an amazing day, okay?
You too. Thanks so much.
Yeah,
Bye.
bye.